ready.
Hi guys.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back.
To a rainy Sunday afternoon, y'all.
Yeah, internet is slow.
We have been needing rain horribly, and boy, let me tell you what. We
Did
got
we get it?
Can you turn that light on, please?
Sure. Mom got herself about, 4 feet of rain?
No, it was probably 3 feet
Yeah.
in his yard. Yeah, because he's a normal size
I don't know,
man.
that
and
dude, it came up pretty close to his butt.
Yeah, but I mean, his house is kind of down in a gully.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
gotcha.
So, anyways, It was kind of insane. You can put the pictures up there.
Yeah, I will.
Did I tell everybody that's following my Nordic coons that Piper is indeed pregnant? I don't think I did tell them that.
I don't know.
You'll have to put a picture of Piper.
Okay.
Piper is expecting. She is 4 weeks today. 28 days. She will be pregnant for 63 days minimum. 63 to 70 days.
I'm excited.
Yes. So I'm collecting all my supplies.
Sorry we haven't been posting that much this week. The last time Mom came over, the interview that we posted, the last Jordan Peterson video, was all re-recorded because it was a long video and she went home afterwards. And we haven't seen each other since. So,
Really?
well, no, we just haven't been able to record since.
Where did you see me?
Came over for 4th of July. Because remember we posted
that was
2
the
days.
next day.
Yeah, but other than that,
I haven't seen you all week.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so we just haven't gotten a chance to record.
So, okay.
So we'll try to record at least a couple things.
All right, well then we got to get on it because
All
I
right.
got to go home and help my team.
All right, well, we're going to watch Jordan Peterson fight against really stupid people and stupid points.
This should be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
We'll watch this one.
So the idea that I've put thought into this is perhaps an optimistic one, but as you might imagine, you've been a topic of conversation on this campus a lot in the past week or so, certainly among a lot of us who discuss politics. And
Right off the bat, this kid sounds like a beta male. Like, he sounds like he doesn't even have the courage to say the words that he's saying.
Yeah, can you put subtitles on? That's what I was trying to do.
this is perhaps an optimistic one, but as you might imagine, you've been a topic of conversation on this campus a lot in the past week or so, certainly among a lot of us who discuss politics. And one of the things that sort of united people who like and dislike a lot of your ideas is that we appreciate your defense of free speech, and we appreciate you coming here to talk about it with us. But one of the things I thought was really interesting is Professor Van Dyke addressed the distinction between you and Jonathan Haidt. And you mentioned this as sort of a temperamental one. And I think, I'm sure that's true to some extent, but I noticed you've made a lot of more sort of substantively inflammatory claims. Like, in the course of this lecture, you called the authors of Facebook posts demons and totalitarians. In past events, you've called them things like neo-Marxists, cultural Marxists. You've called them, I believe, a fifth column that is committing treason against the West. And it seems to me this is more than temperamental. This is a substantive difference.
It's a substantive difference, yes.
And another thing you've done is that, unlike Haidt, you have a more sort of comprehensive political program. You've talked a lot in defense of traditional hierarchies, both of gender, of class, so on, though emphatically not of race. And so it seems that...
I haven't talked about defense of traditional hierarchies in terms of gender and class. That's not true.
Well, you've talked about hierarchies in society. You've talked about...
That's true. I have done that. But I haven't
class?
justified them on the basis of gender and class. Whatever it was.
Well, okay, but you talk
not
about,
okay. That's an important distinction.
Okay, but you defend hierarchies in society in a way that... You talk a lot about the Pareto distribution, yes?
That doesn't mean I defend it.
Well, okay,
okay.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think you talk
Observing that something exists is not the same as defending it. How in the world...
Well, people attack it, right?
What's that?
You don't. People attack it.
Attack
Attack the hierarchies of society as inherently unjust, right?
Well, they're unjust, but they're also useful.
Okay, so you say they're useful. Some
Well,
people would
look
disagree
at
with
it
that
this way.
proposition.
Okay, look at it this way. You obviously think that it's worthwhile to stand up and ask a question.
Yes.
So you think that standing up and asking a question is better than not standing up and asking a question.
Yes.
Okay, that's a hierarchy
Yes.
of values.
Yes.
Okay, without the hierarchy of values, you couldn't act.
Of course.
No, not of course.
Well, wait.
It's partly why I'm
I think
defending
there's
the
a decision here.
hierarchy. Without
No
a
one
hierarchy,
disagrees
there's no
about the
impetus
facts
to
of the
act.
hierarchy, right?
What's that?
There is a hierarchy in society.
They don't acknowledge when he states a fact.
Yeah, I like that at this point he's calling it out too. Like he recognizes that people are already preparing what they're saying next, and they say, "Well, okay," or "Of course,"
and they're not. They didn't hear what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, acknowledge what he said.
Yeah.
Not well, okay.
Well, okay, or yeah, of course, but
Yeah. No, you're not acknowledging the statement that he made.
yeah.
So stop it.
Right.
Well, there's multiple hierarchies
Okay, there are
in
multiple
society.
hierarchies in society, right?
Yes.
And you say that they are based in, you invoke the lobster, right? That they are based in nature.
I said that they were inevitable.
Yes, that they were inevitable. Some
Right.
people
That
disagree
doesn't
with
mean
that.
that they're good.
But my point is that, this is generally relevant to it, you have a broader point than free speech. This is one of the things you talk about, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas I think there are some other activists who focus on more exclusively
I'm not
on
an
free speech.
activist.
There's some other individuals who engage in public political speech. Okay.
Yeah.
Who focus more exclusively on free speech, whereas you have other goals in mind. But one of the things that your more inflammatory language, and it's fair, it's a substantive disagreement, has done, I think, is it's politicized this free speech to an extent that someone like Haidt hasn't. I've noticed that when someone hears the term free speech now, they associate it with a specific set of thinkers, often as viewed as on the extreme right. And I think arguably that's the problem of all factions in society, because free speech should be a universal value. Polls certainly suggest that it's coming under increasing threat from both sides. But I suppose the heart of my question, in addition to, of course, these other observations, is that do you believe free speech is your primary end, or do you believe these other points you're making are important? Because I've heard you a bunch of times defend free speech sort of contextually, like you've complained about some of the laws in Canada that you dislike, that they institutionalize false facts into the law. But it seems to me that an absolutist defense of free speech makes no preference as to true or false. The point is that something, you are being forced to say something. It would be as bad as if you were forced to say something that's true, because the point of
That
free
was
speech
the
is that you can
longest
say whatever
freaking
you want.
run-on
Yeah,
sentence.
this fucking kid thinks he's a lot smarter than what he thinks he is.
He's throwing out all these big fancy words, and he sounds like a tool.
Yeah.
Like, stop and breathe. Does he breathe through his ears? I mean,
Yeah, he's dumb and he thinks he's smart.
whew.
No, the point of free speech is so that you can think your way through
Yes.
life without running like
But
headlong
being
into a
told
brick
to
wall.
think position A versus position B is just as bad, right? Even if one is true and the other's not.
Okay,
Like
well, there's a
that in
bunch
and of
questions.
itself.
Go back. Go back.
He's arguing that if you were absolute, like if you believed in free speech 100%, it's almost like he's arguing that you just shouldn't care what people are saying. Like it shouldn't matter if it's true or not.
And why does he spend so much time talking about
Arguing
it?
with
Yeah.
him about what he thinks Jordan Peterson is saying wrong. It doesn't make sense. It's a stupid argument.
Told
brick
to
wall.
think position A versus position B is just as bad, right? Even if one is true and the other's not.
Okay, well, there was a bunch of questions.
Yes.
Good job, by the way.
Well, actually, wait, can I just ask one additional addendum? Which is, I think the politicization of free speech is by far the biggest threat to free speech, because this has always
No,
been...
the radical leftists are the biggest threat.
Well,
to free
okay, so
speech.
this is disagreement.
But I get your
as
point.
The professor alluded to in previous questions, the substantive threats to free speech in much of the world, in Europe certainly, I think in the United States as well, from the government, have come from the radical right. And I think it's fair to say that on the specific narrow subset of certain departments on liberal arts colleges, it's
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, let's start with Facebook.
First of all, show me
Let's
one
go
radical right person in Congress or has a seat anywhere. Like radical rights are typically like actually like physically motivated racists. Like the KKK.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean at this point I think the KKK kind of sort of has switched parties. They kind of align themselves with the super far right.
But see, I'm thinking along the lines of like tech, big tech, and censoring our free speech. Mark Zuckerberg, I assure you, is not in alignment with the right. The
Not even a
people
little.
from Twitter are not in alignment with the right.
No.
But yet that's what he's trying to
That's what he's
say.
trying to argue, yeah. That the people who are making up the rules that
About-
hurt free speech
right.
are far right. White supremacists, like actual, real, stupid people who literally believe that white is the greatest race. That's someone on the far right.
Gotcha.
Like extreme right.
Yeah.
That's not, they're
like
few
in
and
his-
far between.
Yeah, he's like in his own field by
Yeah.
himself somewhere.
White
Yeah.
supremacists, I mean, that's not even really a super American thing. That's far more prevalent in like white European countries.
I mean,
like,
how many do you know?
I don't know any. I've never even met one.
How many white supremacists do you guys know?
I've never met anyone that tried to argue that anyone was less than anyone else on the basis of fucking melanin.
No, I've never met one. Never come in contact with one. I saw one on Dr. Phil one time.
Really?
And his daughter was pregnant, and he was calling his future grandchild a monkey, and was telling her that he's not allowed in his house, that he'll build a cage out in the back for the monkey to stay in, and
Like, just listening to that, like, he just sounds like a really stupid individual. Like,
Yeah.
just really low IQ, stupid people.
just stupid, ignorant.
Ignorant.
Say
Like,
it
it's
right.
just freaking melanin.
Say it right. Exactly. That's all it is. Yep.
But there's no one like that making rules anywhere in government.
Not on the right.
Well, no, I mean like in actual positions of the government. Well,
Well,
I
they're
know,
not
I mean
gonna,
on the
like,
right.
show up to work in their KKK hood.
Yeah, I know. No, I know that, but I mean, you've got like far leftists who are making rules and doing all that crazy shit. Show me one far right person who's making rules censoring free speech.
There isn't, I would be safe to say. A far right white supremacist, a far right, it would never make it as into a mayor position. Like, that would never be allowed. That would, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
people would never vote for him.
Exactly, because that's just crazy shit. We've moved beyond that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have.
I mean,
we have.
well,
the left has not.
Civilization around the world in large has left that
Yes,
shit behind.
absolutely. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, but the
Alright.
left keeps promoting and saying, no, we haven't.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
CRT,
It's still
it's
around and
still
very
around,
strong.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, the far right is just as much of a minority as the. Well, I don't know. The far left's been growing a lot in popularity due to groupthink.
Yeah.
But it's because they're using mental illness, and I mean, mental illness is very much something you can manifest in yourself by group thinking with a bunch of other people.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
But all right, let's.
It's kind of like when girls all work together for a while.
They
Eventually,
all end up cycling
they
up.
all cycle together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
To say a threat comes from the left, though its scope is in dispute. But my question is, do you think that the way you talk about free speech, the way you link it to specific issues, the way you use inflammatory language, and the way you seem to defend a specific set of free speech, there are certainly plenty of instances of free speech attacked on the other side that you don't mention as much. Do you think you risk politicizing this? Because it seems to me
Yes.
that... Okay, and
It's a
do you
risk.
not think that's a far greater threat? Because, for example, the
No.
NRA... Well, sorry, the NRA is a group in the United States that defends guns rights, right?
Okay, hold it.
Yes.
We need a question.
Yes. Okay.
I mean,
My
like I
question
said,
is,
you're doing fine,
do you
but
think-
it's just too
Yes.
much. Like, I can't keep it
Do you
straight.
think that your behavior risks politicizing it, and do you think that politicization is justified?
I think my behavior risks politicizing it, yes. I would rather it not be politicized. And I'm doing what I can to manage that risk. However, it's become political in my country because the government implemented compelled speech legislation. So I wasn't complaining about that before it became political. Now, there is a time, even when you're detached in some sense from the political realm, that you can't be detached anymore. Well, I'm not happy with the fact that this has become politicized. You could say that I haven't done a stellar job in ensuring in every possible manner that this has remained neutrally apolitical. Probably true, but I'm not particularly unhappy with the way things have gone so far. So, and I'm not happy with the radical left. And so if they're irritated at me, so much the better, as far as I'm concerned. So have I conducted myself perfectly? It's like, undoubtedly no. So I've got more than my fair share of faults, and a temper is one of them. But
I gotta stop there. I mean, he's got way more patience than I would have with this kid. There would have been at least 3 times I'd have been like, kid, hurry the fuck up. Like, say what you're trying to say.
Exactly. But he's saying that his temper is one of his faults.
I don't think he really doesn't have much of one. It takes a lot to get Jordan Peterson pissed off, I feel like.
I can kind of feel like that's where we're headed.
Yeah. This kid's certainly trying his patience.
Yeah.
muddling through.
So now I know there's much more to say, but I have some questions from the audience, so I'd like to read those. And
I didn't know this was 2 interviews, but I guess this is two different instances.
Okay, well that's okay.
Again, just to divide up the time in the questions, hopefully as fairly as possible. So Professor Peterson, let's start with you. So this question says, you present your issue with Bill C-16 to be that the infringement of freedom of expression regarding gender pronouns is a problem. Do you hold the same stance with other discriminatory language in the Human Rights Code, such as being able to use racist terms with regard to students? And if you believe that one of these things is a violation but not the other one, why? I'm not sure I read that out all that well, but you get the idea.
Okay, well, so one thing I would like to point out before I answer that, just so you all notice, is that I have in fact been denounced today. And what I am saying has in fact been described as hate propaganda. So one thing I'd like to suggest to you, every single person in the audience, you're next. So keep it in mind. All right, so with regards to the question, well, first of all, I don't think that these issues are the same. I don't think they're the same at all. I mean, I've been thinking about the pronoun thing, because one of the things that people, it put me back on my heels for a while, because the claim was basically, well, it's something like, why doesn't the mean professor just play nice and respect people by using their pronouns? And it took me like 3 weeks to unpack that, because who gets questioned about pronoun use? I don't know why the hell I use the pronouns I use. I use them because they're part of the language. I use he and she because that's what everyone uses. And so then I had to think about, well, why do we in fact use pronouns? And we use them in part for the same reason that we use other categories, and that's to simplify the world for functional purposes, roughly speaking. But then I was thinking, well, is the use of he and she a mark of respect? And the answer to that is, well, no, it's not a mark of respect. It can't be a mark of respect. What you call 4 billion people can't be a mark of respect, right? It's a mark of basic categorization. And so then the claim comes up, well, if someone wants you to use a particular pronoun, then you're disrespecting them if you don't. It's like, okay, let's think that through a bit. Well, that assumes that when I'm using he or she for people in normal parlance, that I'm actually indicating my respect for them. And that's not true. It's like, if I don't know you, I classify you generically, and basically I classify you in terms of how you present yourself publicly. I suppose that's your gender expression. And then I nail you with whatever pronoun seems to fit. It has nothing to do with respect. And besides that, you bloody well don't get to demand my respect. Why should you? I mean, it's not like I respect everyone. That's a foolish thing to do. You respect people who are respectable. You make value distinctions between people, and that's
I love how he just makes it seem like it's just such common sense.
Common sense, yeah.
Yeah. It's not about respect.
He and she, however you look the most like is what pronoun I'm gonna use on you.
I'll call you thing if you somewhere fall between both and fail at doing one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, if you look like a man, I'm gonna say he. If you look like a girl,
it's ma'am. You ever see that video of the dude put on a wig, basically, and had a dress on, but was still he was a fucking man,
Yeah.
And he went into GameStop freaking out because the cashier kept calling it a man. It's like, sir, it's ma'am! It's ma'am! And they're like yelling at him like a freaking man.
Like you just were?
Yeah. I will have to watch that. This shit was funny.
You illegally discriminate against them, those aren't the same thing. But I'm all for value judgments. If you don't buy value judgments, then why bother learning anything? Why bother doing anything? Why go from one point in your life to another if the next point isn't better in some manner? So don't tell me that I'm not respecting people when I don't use their gendered pronouns. And the other thing is, I don't buy this whole idea that the people who are putting this legislation forward are valid representatives of the trans community. That's what they say they are. We have mechanisms for deciding whether someone's a valid representative of a community, and that generally involves democratic voting. I've received at least 20 letters from transsexual.
That's a very good point.
That is a good point. These people, these freaking politicians stand up and say that they care about a specific...
And I am the
thing.
leader. I am the best leader in the LGBTQ plus whatever.
It's nonsense.
Well, you don't just get to say I am now the leader.
Yeah.
You have to be voted in.
I feel like a lot of this is Twitter's fault. Like if Twitter just like didn't freaking exist, a lot of this nonsense wouldn't even be here.
Absolutely. And if Facebook censored the right shit,
Yeah.
if censored Facebook, or if Facebook censored the racist shit, and you know what I mean, the non-fact stuff,
Yeah.
just let us.
Like how about canceling like, I don't know, 80% of the black people that say, "Oh, this is some white people shit," or like,
Yeah.
like how is that any different?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's some white boy shit.
I watched a TikTok the other day where this white boy was breaking it down, man. And I mean, he was dancing. He was pretty good. I would say they were probably 14 or 15 years old. And this little white kid, Ginger, it's a white kid, was breaking it down. And there was two black boys watching him. And they were just like, man, dude, look at that. Like, can you believe this white boy can dance like that? Like why
does it have
that?
to? Yeah, see, that's stupid to me.
Why? I mean, why? And
Dance
if,
isn't owned by any particular race.
Gender, yeah, or race, exactly. But I mean, that kid could have turned around and been like, "You're this racist." You know what I mean? That's being stereotypical, you know? Yeah. So.
Well, that's like them calling us all crackers too.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. Do you understand that term? Like it's all about how white people used to crack the whip, so they call us crackers.
No.
So I mean, they're essentially still like when they call us that, they're still calling us slave owners.
So if they call us crackers, then we should be allowed to call them.
Exactly, and I mean that's the argument. You can't defend one and allow the other. That's just stupid. And I'm not for cancel culture. I'm not saying that like I actually believe that people should be canceled. But like, if you're gonna censor actual real hate speech,
Then yeah.
like speech that is designed to do nothing but be evil,
Cause division and.
then it needs to go both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Have social media actually censoring the right stuff.
Yeah.
And then just let us post what we want to post, like it used to be.
Yeah.
And people can decide for themselves.
But anyways, I agree with him. Respect is definitely earned. It's not just given,
Don't
and
just
it's
give
certainly
people
not
more.
freaking demanded.
However, well, no, I agree. Because I'm thinking like, you know, when I'm walking into a store, and I'll hold the door for somebody or something like that. I'm treating them with respect by holding the door open for them. They didn't earn that respect.
Yeah.
However, if they walked up to the door being a douche and had an attitude, I probably wouldn't hold the door.
See, I don't think
open.
that has to do with respect as much as it is just loving your neighbor, like
Yeah,
just
I
being
guess so.
kind.
Yeah, that's true. Go
all right.
ahead.
People who are on my side, and by the way, zero from others, believe it or not, who are perfectly happy with the idea of gendered pronouns. It's just they want to be the other one. Now, you can have a discussion about that, and there's lots of things to be said about it, but the idea that this community that's coming out and demanding these rights is somehow representative of this homogenous oppressed minority, I think is rubbish.
Well, that leads us to our next question.
Is the quality of this video going to be better
And
when they
for this
see it?
question, I'm going to,
No, that's just the quality of this particular video. Like, this is,
Oh.
yeah, it's whatever camera was used to record this.
Okay, I gotcha.
both Professor Kosman and Professor Bryson to comment on it. So one of the objectives of the transgender and queer rights movement is to enter into public conscience in a way. And this person asks, this can only occur through public conversation. Do you worry that it may not be possible to have thoughtful discussion if there's government restriction about this kind of speech? And do you worry that it would skew discussion in one direction or another? So perhaps Professor Kosman first, and then Professor Bryson.
So I've spent a career being concerned about the way in which thoughtful discussion is often shut down. And I've been concerned about it on the right, I've been concerned about it on the left, and I've been concerned about it in the mushy middle. And I think that Professor Peterson has actually performed some of this today, insofar as he just said that he was denounced here today and that they're going to come for you next. So the thing is about speech is that everybody gets it. And you say something and you then get criticized. So Professor Peterson hasn't been denounced, some might want to, but he has been severely criticized. And that is actually what speech does. That is what speech does.
I have to say, whoever edited this video, like, what the fuck? We don't need you to explain what we're watching.
Yeah,
Dang it.
it's fine.
I just want to watch the interview.
I think that there is an important way to have public discussions around a whole range of issues. I would welcome a discussion on the role of hate speech provisions. I would welcome a discussion around the role of hate speech and its desirability, about whether the Supreme Court of Canada is right or not right in upholding its constitutionality. But I would like to have that debate with someone who is knowledgeable about the law.
Oh.
Thank you. And Professor Bryson.
Yeah, I have to
One
say
of
most
the-
of that was pretty nonsense, because I feel like anyone who considers themselves centrist or like falls somewhere in the middle are typically the most agreeable people, and they're capable of debating. You okay?
That hurt so bad.
What did you do? What did you hit?
Oh, I had my elbow right here on the edge, and you know that little thing that like little cartilage thing in there, it went poof, like, and it like hit my funny bone, but it's not funny.
Oh god.
Okay.
Anyways, people who are more centrist and who don't necessarily fall to the left or right are much more agreeable, like Jordan. They're not super argumentative because they're not necessarily passionate about one side or the other. You know? So like her concern that like even people in the middle are somehow
The
making it
mushy middle.
the mushy middle, or somehow making it impossible for people to have
To
open
have
conversation.
open discussion.
That's just so
Yeah.
backwards. That's so dumb.
Yeah, it is stupid. That
The
really hurt.
big questions that I had to deal with in considering whether or not to accept the very generous offer,
That's
invitation.
a girl.
That's a thing, is what that is. That's a freaking thing. That's someone who doesn't know, dressing like a guy, has their haircut like a guy, but has done nothing else to change the fact that it's a girl.
And they think it's acceptable to still sound like a woman.
No facial hair, nothing.
Of the
That's
University of Toronto to come here today would be the impact of this event on trans and gender non-binary people, specifically at the University of Toronto and much more generally. And so, whereas I would say that I recognize practices of peer review, and practices of peer review are not denouncement. Practices of peer review are practices that we utilize to make assessments about knowledge claims. Whereas I would
That's
fully
just
appreciate-
me looking at her. Okay, I take that back because I said, yeah, no, she looks like a woman. She can wear a suit,
That's a
but
her.
she looks like a woman. And now I forgot what I was going to say.
being able to enter into a discussion about gender and gender identity and
That's
issues
somebody
around.
that's very confused.
Yeah.
Very confused.
Super confused. I feel like
if I was going to decide that I identified more as a man, then I would go big or go home.
yeah.
You don't half-ass the shit.
Yeah.
And that's what she's done here. She's got herself a boy haircut and she's put on a sport coat.
Yeah. Over what looks like a man's like button-up shirt.
I have Hawaiian button-up shirts. Shut up. No, I don't. But I mean, it doesn't even fit her.
No. It looks like it's 2 sizes too big. Like she went to the bargain bin like right
At
before
the
she came
Goodwill.
here. Yeah.
Does it have shoulder pads in it?
Nah, it doesn't look like it's got shoulder pads, but
But I mean, come on.
it's ridiculous. I
Try
hate
and
this
talk like a
conversation.
man, act like a man, walk like a man. Because if you're gonna commit and say I feel like a man, then you gotta go the whole way.
Yeah.
We'll go to Jofi at my work. Jofi is what, 6'3"-ish?
No, she's not. It's
Well,
not
when
that
she's got
tall.
heels on.
Well, yeah. Every girl cheats when they've got fucking heels on.
Jofi never had not heels on. Never. I never saw her without a pair
Heels
of
are
heels.
stupid.
Okay, but anyways, so 6'2" we'll say. I used to say that she had Shrek hands because her hands were twice the size of Jordan's.
Yeah.
Her calf muscles, I kid you not, her calf muscles were massive.
She was a very big man. at one
Yes,
point.
she was a very big man. However, when she committed because she would come in there with a dress, with her makeup on, her hair fixed, and no woman that I know walks the way Jofi walked. But she never walked without doing her interpretation of a woman's walk. You know what I'm saying? This is just half-assing it.
Yeah.
Like you're just doing this to stir up division, I feel like. Like you're trying to cause conflict.
I mean, furthermore, if you want to try and be a man, you need to also try to like not get super offended about how people are addressing you. Because that's not something typically men get super offended about.
And I mean, if you look like this and act like this, then people are going to call you what they think you are. And if that offends you, then do something about it. Fix it. Instead of getting offended, instead of getting your panties in a knot, fix it so that you don't get offended. But you can't take it out on us.
Yeah. I mean, that's the policy position that all these people stand on is, oh, we have the right to not get offended. It's like, no, you fucking don't. No, you don't. Literally, no one has the right to not get offended. Totally normal people can go out and choose to get offended about something.
At any time, about anything.
Anything. And I mean, we don't wear these big signs or tattoo our foreheads and say, hey, these are my triggers. Don't talk about this.
Don't talk about this.
Like, that's just stupid. Such a stupid idea and concept that anyone has the right to not get offended. Just because they're weaker.
Exactly. Okay. Anyway.
And we've managed to reproduce this difficulty here today, characterized just now by Dr. Peterson as simplifying the world for functional purposes. Simplifying the world for functional purposes is not what I recognize to be academic practice. This is not how we relate to knowledge. And so
What do
I
you
think
do
that
with that knowledge? If you don't apply it, well, how do they say that?
If you don't simplify it for functional use.
I mean, that's what you do with your knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what I'm understanding.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. I think I misunderstood. But yeah, when you learn something that's really, really, really heavy that most people aren't going to understand, you do have to simplify it in a way so that way simpler minds who haven't been practicing that field of expertise for years
like,
can't
okay,
understand
Matt, he's gonna talk some crypto shit. Dude, you gotta break it down. You gotta talk in normal
Well,
words.
you used to do that
But
with
I
me
don't
all the
even-
time with physiology stuff, like all the science behind it. I used to go above and beyond in explaining that.
I don't know that that's what she's saying though. Go back again. I want to hear it one more time.
You're gonna make editing really difficult.
I'm sorry.
That we utilize to make assessments about knowledge claims, whereas I would fully appreciate being able to enter into a discussion about gender and gender identity and issues around trans culture as a means of practicing peer review. I think the difficulty that we've had, and we've managed to reproduce this difficulty here today, characterized just now by Dr. Peterson as simplifying the world for functional purposes. Simplifying the world for functional purposes is not what I recognize to be academic practice.
Okay,
This is not
simplifying the world for what?
Functional purposes.
Then I don't know why I can't remember that. Simplifying the world for functional purposes. Okay. You go to college to learn how to be a doctor. You take that knowledge, simplify it for what? Something functional? What?
Functional purposes.
Functional purposes.
Uh,
You go to community college to be a stonemason. You take that knowledge and you simplify it and apply it. Do you see what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
what education and academics are. That's exactly what it is.
yeah.
So why is she saying
That's not how the academic world works.
that's
I mean,
exactly
that's
what they're
literally
doing?
what analogies and all of that is for. It's to help simplify very
Exactly,
complex
yeah.
ideas into
I mean,
ways that other people can understand
That's
it.
exactly. Sorry, I'm picking a wedgie. That's exactly. That's exactly what the role of an educator is doing.
Figure out ways to make it fun to learn for everyone else.
Okay, go.
we relate to knowledge. And so I think that there's a concern when we don't subject claims that are being made as knowledge claims by people who carry titles at great Canadian universities, when we don't treat those knowledge claims in the same way that we would in any other field. And when they're knowledge claims made about members of minority groups
Yeah. When
embattled.
I go, it's
Yeah,
like
she's like, it's,
she reminds me of that kid from the first video.
yeah, you're just going
Just
on
a
and
whole
on and
bunch of
on and on
words.
about nothing.
You put all of these fancy words in sentences that don't make sense, and it's just stupid. It's
And
like,
also to attack her point, like I'm sorry if knowledge claims are somehow hurting minorities. Like if it's the fucking truth, then it's the fucking truth. If it hurts them, then change it.
exactly.
Change your behavior.
That's what I was telling her. Go ahead.
Vulnerable, marginalized members of minority groups, then I think that we all need to be very concerned about how it is that we're changing what we think we do in the university, which is supposed to be about the advancement of knowledge and excellence.
Thank you.
That's just
That made no sense.
No,
Like
she
the
didn't-
people are
nothing she
clapping
said
and they're
made
like,
any
I
sense.
really don't know what they're saying, what she's saying, but okay.
I realized we never got to that point in the thumbnail. He never stood up and started wagging his finger at anybody.
No. Clickbait.
Clickbait. Yeah, I didn't like the way that last video was edited. But yeah, that shit.
You can say big fancy words, but they don't make any sense, and it makes you look stupid. It does not make you look smart at all.
It's really frustrating. It's kind of tiring watching people make sense of nothing.
Trying to make
Trying
sense
to
of
make
nothing.
sense
Trying to
of
convince me that what they're saying makes sense. It's like I just feel like I wasted, 30 minutes of my time, my life that I can't get back.
Listening to her.
Yeah, you wasted my time, you stupid bitch.
For
I don't
on
have
and
much
on.
time. about nothing, droning on and on and on and on and on about nothing.
I just don't, I don't understand the point of view that would make anyone believe if people if let's just argue for the sake of argument that these people truly are marginalized.
What people?
The
People
minorities
okay.
that she talks about, right?
Okay.
How is censoring speech going to help them in any way, shape, or form? Like, how about teaching them to, like, show up to work on time? How about teaching, like, teaching them how to dress like businessmen, or
pull their pants up.
Yeah, or pull their pants up, or tighten their fucking belt when they do have one in their pants, or let's stop listening to self-destructive music.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many
Do
other
something.
different things that can
Exactly.
actually help
Than to try and censor
other people's speech.
the very few people that and what
They don't
they're
even censor their own speech.
and what
They
they're
call themselves derogatory terms all the time.
and what they're censoring on us is what goes back to what you were saying before. The people that are really spewing hate on the internet, they're not censoring them.
Yeah.
They're censoring the people that really aren't promoting hate speech, but they just get a little bit offended by the way we say something. Like gay people hate me because when I see something I don't like, I say that it's gay.
Yeah, that.
You know,
Like,
I mean,
faggot used to be a pretty funny insult back in the day.
yeah, faggot. You know, calling somebody a retard.
Yeah, we, like, her brother had Down syndrome. And,
So-
and Mark was a huge part of our life.
And
I
he
mean,
would tell you he wasn't a retard.
Yeah, he had no concept of the word whatsoever.
Yeah. So no, I don't get offended by that, and people shouldn't get offended by that. If somebody that actually is mentally retarded doesn't get offended by that, then you don't have the right to get offended by that.
No. I mean, I remember there was a couple times where, like, we would call each other, like, a retard in front of Mark, and he would laugh at us because he knew it was an insult.
Yeah. Excuse me. So yeah.
It's just dumb.
That's who they're censoring. If I put that lyric, gay people hate me because when I see something I don't like, I say that it's gay. If I put that as my status on Facebook, I guarantee you
You
Facebook
get
would put
canceled.
something on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd get canceled. At
Maybe
least
we
for a
should
few
do
days.
a test.
Or they would cancel you until you changed your status or whatever.
We could get Elvis to put it on there because he gets canceled all the time. Elvis, put that on your Facebook. Okay, so anyways, that's our 2 cents.
Yeah.
That's our opinion for what it's worth.
Yeah, if you're too weak and you feel like you need to change everyone else's speech, then you just need to change yourself.
You need to be a little bit toughen up.
Yeah.
Suck it up, Buttercup. You know, pull your panties up and
Pull your pants.
come on. I mean, it's just like everybody's being such a pussy. That's what I feel like. That's what I
Yeah.
feel like this world is turning into.
I'm telling you, it's because of how hormonally we're getting more and more fucked up as each generation goes
Dee Dee
on.
asked me the other day, why is that being pushed though? Why is the trans movement being pushed? Why are they indoctrinating why are they trying to change genders of our children? And actually Candace Owens said it the next day, but I said it to Dee Dee. I said they're trying to neuter all of the men because weak people are easy to control.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You know, it's that simple. I think Brenda posted this and I'm going to share it to my Facebook, but I want to say it on here. Hold on.
I have to. You should go.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's interesting that if you don't have a uterus, you can't have an opinion on women's issues, but you can compete in women's sports.
Yeah.
Figure that out.
It's ridiculous.
How is that? How? Do they not see the double standard? Do they not see?
No. I mean, that's all the left is just a plethora of double standards and hypocrisies.
Whatever
they
suits
can't.
them, whatever suits them in the moment, whatever works for them.
It's
in the
as I'm
moment.
telling you, it's groupthink.
Yeah.
It's groupthink. I think
Yeah,
I
you
think
can't
it's
think
people
for
who never
yourself.
had community when they were younger, so they have community now, and they're willing to overlook everything for the sake of
It's
being
like a
part.
cult.
Yeah, it's a cult.
Yeah, it's like a cult. So,
All right. Well, anyways,
anyways,
come back for the next video. Maybe we'll keep going with Jordan Peterson.
how are you gonna edit this to where it goes?
I'll just do it all in black and white. I think that seemed to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Come on, come up here and
Come
say
here and
goodbye.
say goodbye, guys.
Come on.
Say bye. Come here. Come here, Maggie. There you go.
Oh,
No, don't
not all the way up.
Just right here, bud. No, I love you too. Yeah, you're a good boy.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm taking your camera time. Oh, did your scab fall off of your boo-boo on your forehead? It did? You want to tell everybody about that sad story? Well, hey!
Modi,
hey,
no,
hey.
sir.
Hey,
No,
hey,
sir.
hey,
Get back
down.
in your chair.
Get down.
Get in your chair.
Get down. You
Get
wouldn't
in
put
your
your
chair.
front paws on there. Hey,
Get in your chair.
get down.
Get in your chair.
They're gonna get their nuts cut off soon.
They are. They've got a month and a half left with both of their balls. Modi,
Hey,
stop it.
quit it.
All right, you guys ready to say bye?
You were gonna tell the funny story of Modi with this.
Oh yeah, I took him out to one of my jobs. I take him out to work with me all the time now because I typically work security from my car. And they were outside doing their business, and he started doing zoomies. There was a picnic table nearby, and being a dumb dog like he is,
A dum-dum.
wasn't paying attention to where he was in comparison to the picnic table. Turned around to do zoomies the other direction and smacked his freaking forehead right into the corner of one of the seats on the picnic table, and then just kept going.
Gosh, just
Ran under it and like scraped his neck and freaking dumb. No.
Yeah, you were just holding Grammy's hand, weren't you? You were.
All right, let's say bye.
Thank you. Okay. Do we do this for here?
Sure.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. Bye guys. Bye guys. Bye guys.
Thanks for hanging out,
Here, can you
y'all.
hit that since I got mad?
Hit that.